Alright, today we're having a look at Sky Gardens Bunny Adventure by Check Me Out. Alright, so here we are in Sky Gardens Bunny Adventure by Check Me Out, and as longtime viewers may know, I do have a thing for floating islands. Ooh, it's got a nice locked camera. Thank you so much. You have no idea how pleasing that is to me. Oh, that's an enemy. It's a planter. Is it an enemy? Are you gonna... Okay, yes, definitely. I should have guessed because rapidly blinking things in video games, it's usually a signal that something is gonna blow up. Do I want to do that? I guess? It's weird, it doesn't feel like an attack. It feels much more like a way to get extra jump time. But the planter died without killing us. Fudge! Are there no checkpoints? Because that's kind of an issue. I think a lack of checkpoints might be an indication of what we call in the business an issue. I am not involved in the business by any means, so take that with a grain of salt. L1 plus X. Nice. Okay. No, not nice. Oh, there's a checkpoint. Oh, good. I didn't realize that was what that was. All right, let's get this and get it done. I'm kind of liking it. I was looking for something a little bit poppy, just a little bit poppy. The world has been fairly dark recently, so I didn't. Ooh, I want to be careful about that. I didn't want to do something too excessively dark, so these are our checkpoints. We're going to talk about those checkpoints, not now necessarily, but they will be talked about. Oh, we don't have to, we could just, right, check that out. We could just spin. Now it makes much more sense as an attack. It reads much more clearly as an attack. Gotcha. Whee! Alright, but we want to go to the side, right? Because this is a video game, and as everyone knows, that you never go just straight ahead to the goal in a video game. You always want to go to the side, because that's where all the cool stuff is. That's where all the cool kids hang out. I've been told, at least. I don't know. I was never a cool kid, so I don't really know where the cool kids hang out. Sorry, you're gonna have to check with somebody else. I am like, oh fudge. Well, that's one way to get back faster. I am liking this though so far. It is nice. It is very chill. It's got a nice poppy look to it. I wouldn't mind a little bit more enemy variety, but we don't know. Perhaps there are different enemies coming up. Now that is a hidden carrot. Excuse me, carrot. Get in my belly. I'm sorry, we shouldn't reference child eating. That's probably like a TOS. I'm pretty sure it's like a TOS violation. Give me these, thank you. I need all of the carrots. Oh fudge, no, I want that other carrot. I want all of them. Every carrot. See, because now that we got the planters, the kind of their strategy down, their movement pattern, as it were, not quite a strategy. They're not really a threat anymore. Maybe a couple faster planters, perhaps, more aggressive planters, planters that spit seeds at us, or have ninja leaves. Oh fudge. I hope that there's not a death tracker, because I'm going to be embarrassed to see how many times I've actually died. I'm imagining it's going to be many. Oh, crumbs! Oh, please. Now I gotta go back and do that again. We've only got 24 seconds. It's not very much time. Not very much time indeed. Well, we'll just get a little bit farther before we go back to the hub, but I am liking what I have seen so far. I'm loving the fixed camera. Let me tell you, I got a mania for the fixed camera. Oh fudge! Oh darn it! And the time, folks, time. We're gonna talk about this back in the hub, but we'll see you there. See yas. And we're back. And Sky Gardens Bunny Adventure by Check Me Out. I believe it's supposed to be Check Me Out. It feels like it's supposed to be a pun. But creator, if I'm getting your name wrong, please by all means let me know. But anyways, Sky Gardens Bunny Adventure, and I think it's a pretty solid on yellow square to be actually perfect. What is with this camera? I swear to Entropy, these cameras. I think it's a pretty good yellow square, to be perfectly honest. I had a really good time with it. I had a few issues with it, but really not too many, and... hello? That was weird for my voice. Really not too many. A little bit of presentation issue, and some gameplay issues that I feel were probably a little bit more on my part than on the creation itself. But the level is basically what we see in the video. You've got a number of these floating platform segments, and generally you're going to be moving to a bit of a hub in a way, and we call it that. And then the paths branch out to the right and left. You go through all of those, and you're trying to get all of the carrots, and that's basically what it is. It's reminiscent of kind of a late 90s collectathon 3D platformer. I don't know why I want to say isometric. It's not isometric, but a 3D platformer, and I think it actually pulls it off for the most part really well. The islands themselves, one small bit that I had, and this is kind of one of those presentation bits, but the islands themselves are just a pure platform. It's just the grass section there. There's no underhanging rock to them, and I think that might make it look just a little bit nicer to have a bit of underhanging rock going on there. But they are, as I said in the video, they're nicely decorated. They're bright and poppy. The whole level feels bright and poppy, and also at the same time kind of chill, which was really, really nice. There's not a lot of gameplay, quad gameplay. You're basically dealing with a couple of set elements. You've got the base platforms themselves. You've got a few of these kind of wobbly rock-looking platforms that will eventually drop out from beneath you. You've got a couple places where there's moving wooden panels that you'll be jumping on, and you've got the puddings. We're gonna talk about the puddings, but that's basically, you know, you're gonna go around, grab all the carrots, and get to the end. It's a relatively beefy level for what it is. I think it took, I'd have to check my notes. I'll put it up on an overlay, but I think it took about maybe like 15 minutes or so my first playthrough, maybe about 10 minutes or so my second playthrough, because I was kind of speedrunning it. And that is something that I think that might improve this level, because the level feels very speedrunnable. It kind of has that layout to it, so maybe adding in a timed leaderboard would be something that would attract players to come back and give this another shot to see if they could beat their times, because I think that it's one of those types of levels where the setup lets you like shave off points if you've got optimal routes and if you got the timing down right, so that would be kind of cool. We also do see some enemies that pop up in the levels, and well, I say some enemies, but they're all the one enemy archetype. It's that kind of like planter dude that will explode if you allow it to stay too close to you for too long. And I did like that enemy. I did think that enemy was pretty cool. It would be nice to see one or two other enemy types, or even a variation on the planter type that we see here, just to give it again like a little bit more of a range in the level. It's not necessarily necessary, but I do think that it would help out a little bit. Now, I did say we would talk about the flan, the puddings, and they were my biggest issue with the level, if I'm going to be perfectly honest. I think that some of this is definitely on me, but the actual platform that the pudding is on, for one thing, is really, really quite narrow, so you've got to be judging like how far in front or in back you are when you're jumping, so that you actually get right on that platform, because they can be quite easy to miss. I also found that they kind of broke at times the gameplay, that sometimes when I would jump on them, they wouldn't allow me to bounce. I noticed that the first time, my first playthrough, and there's a section where you've got 3 of these platforms and they're moving. So you've got to get onto the one and bounce to the next and bounce to the next. And it's pretty tricky, at least for me, someone with my level of play skills. But it seemed like they weren't triggering in that area unless I did the double jump. And there is a sign to tell you to do the double jump. But other of these puddings that I encountered, when I just walked on them, you know, the ones that are kind of on the main platform, when I just walked on them, they would send me to bounce. So I don't know, like, what was going on in those sections, what was causing the gameplay breakdown, because all the puddings look the same. So if there's intended to be that was weird, if there's intended to be a difference in gameplay mechanic, maybe, I can't say for certain, but if that was the intent, if we were intending that certain puddings would act different from other puddings, then it might be a good idea to change the color of the puddings. Like, this is just a regular step on it and jump, it's pink. This one you need to double jump to trigger, it's blue. Something like that might help out a little bit. What else did I want to say? I feel like I wanted to say something else. I would really like to see more from, maybe not this level, but more in the world of this level, because I found it quite enjoyable. But there were things that, again, thinking about expansion, a little bit more interaction with the environment would be nice. Maybe triggers to flip, things that would cause platforms to move into place that would allow you to progress further on. It's not necessarily necessary in this level. I think that this level is pretty much set up fairly well as it is, and I don't know how much more could be added to it itself, but in a world that consists of this type of gameplay, of this character, it might be kind of neat to see something like that. One thing that I really did enjoy, and I mentioned this when we talked about Alex Starr from Nestor 180 last week in the Paper World episode, is that it does have a locked camera. You don't really have to worry about juggling the camera and, you know, juggling your playing at the same time, and I do appreciate that. The camera does seem to be fixed at one particular following angle throughout, so maybe thinking about places where where Check Me Out might want to kind of shift the camera to give a little bit of a different view, but still keeping it in that lock set, so it's not always at the same angle. But even still, I did find the platforming to be much easier because that camera was fixed throughout the level, and I didn't have to mess around with it. Now, as I was playing the level, and I felt kind of like a bit of familiarity here, and I was looking at Check Me Out's other creations, and I noticed that they had also done Baby Skeleton, which was a level that we looked at on stream. Oh god, I can't even say anymore. Probably like a month and a half ago, maybe somewhere around there. And that's another really fun level that I found that follows a very similar playstyle, but a very different presentation style from Sky Gardens. But I would definitely recommend checking that one out as well. I'm not trying to pun on the creator's name, but checking that one out as well, because it's a really good time and it's got a pretty cool look to it. I had a great time with Sky Gardens. It's really what I was looking for in a creation to play today. Like we talked about last week, there's just a lot of stress in the world, there's a lot to deal with, and sometimes to have these kind of relatively chill, nice, bright and friendly creations is just really nice, and it's very complete as a creation. It doesn't feel sloppy, it doesn't feel like it's missing pieces, and it's something that I definitely could recommend giving at least one or maybe even two plays to. Play it. You'll probably have a good time. I do imagine that you do. Check Me Out. Thank you so much for putting the hard work in to making this creation and the other creations that you've done. I've been enjoying them. I do look forward to seeing more from you in the future, even if it's not in the vein of this level, even if you don't build this out into a larger, like, hub-based game. I really am looking forward to seeing your work, and I hope that you have a great day, and I hope that you all have a great day. But that pretty much does it for us here this go-about. I think I've hit all the points I wanted to hit. So, from me, Disco, here in Osaka, To all of you out there, wherever you may happen to be, thank you, arigato, arigasamryota, sayonara, see you, and ciao.